Hey there, you. Feeling that F1 buzz in the air? We are definitely feeling it.
Oh, yeah.
We're diving deep into the upcoming 2025 Austrian Grand Prix today. Cutting through all the noise to give you the ultimate shortcut, sort of, to being truly informed.
Exactly.
Think surprising facts, crucial insights, and, well, all the key narrative you really need to track this pivotal weekend. Today, we've stacked up, articles, race analysis, our own notes, too, to really pull out those indispensable nuggets of knowledge. Our mission, simple, to arm you with everything you need to know so you're not just, watching the race. You're understanding every strategic move and every dramatic twist.
Exactly right. It's not just about who's fastest or, who finishes where. Our goal here is to explore the why it matters.
Yeah.
We'll provide that broader context for what's set to be a truly significant race on the Formula One calendar, helping you connect the dots between, past performances and what might happen next.
Okay, let's do it.
So let's get into it.
Right. So let's kick things off with where we stand. The Austrian Grand Prix marks Formula One's highly anticipated return to Europe after that whirlwind trip to Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix.
And what a race that was.
Oh, absolutely. It really set the stage for Austria, didn't it? The Canadian GP delivered some major shakeups. George Russell finally clinched his first win of the year with Mercedes, a really commanding performance, actually.
It really was. Impressive stuff.
Then you had Max Verstappen in his Red Bull managing a solid second place.
Yeah.
But here's where it got, truly fascinating. Andrea Antonelli, in the other Mercedes, achieved his first ever F1 podium.
Incredible.
That's a significant moment for him, isn't it? And it immediately makes you ask, what does a performance like that mean for his trajectory and for the wider Mercedes team dynamics going forward?
That's a great question. And what's fascinating here is how that Canadian race immediately reshaped the championship picture. Even for teams like McLaren, who didn't get the win.
Right.
While Mercedes were celebrating, McLaren had a pretty dramatic moment. There was that collision between teammates Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri.
Oof, yeah.
They were battling for fourth, I think, in the final laps.
Yeah, late race.
That incident left Norris with 0 points, and it allowed Piastri to extend his lead over his garage mate to a pretty significant 22 points in the championship standings.
22 points. That's chunky.
It is. And this immediately sets up one of our key narratives for Austria. Can McLaren recover their composure? And maybe more importantly, can Norris start closing that 22-point gap on his teammate?
Yeah, that inter-team battle just got spicier. And we can't forget Argentina's Franco Colapinto. He's heading into Austria with some, real positive momentum.
I saw some flashes from him.
He achieved his best qualifying result as an Alpine driver in Canada, and he was fighting for points early in the race before a strategy setback pushed him back. But his drive showed real promise, didn't it? He'll be looking to build on that raw pace.
He absolutely will. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the championship standings before Austria are, they're incredibly tight, especially at the top. They tell a compelling story for both drivers and constructors.
Okay, lay it on us.
Right. So we won't bore you with every single point for every driver, but the key takeaway here is Oscar Piastri's lead, he's on 198 points. Pretty impressive.
He's had a great season so far.
He really has. Closely followed by his teammate Lando Norris at 176. Then comes Max Verstappen with 155, and George Russell after that win is up to 136.
Okay, so that top four is pulling away a bit.
Kind of, yeah. And Andrea Antonelli, after that podium, he's now up to 63 points, which is a rapid climb.
Wow.
These top four, maybe five if Antonelli keeps this up, are really the ones to watch as they fight for every single championship point.
That's a fascinating snapshot for the drivers. But what about the Constructors' Championship? Does that tell a similar story of tight battles, or is there a clear leader there?
This raises an important question, because the Constructors' battle is just as fierce, maybe even more so for team prestige and, prize money.
Right, the money matters.
It really does. McLaren leads the pack with a commanding 374 points.
Wow, okay. Big lead.
Huge lead. But then it gets interesting. Mercedes, boosted by their Canadian performance, is second with 199 points, followed very closely by Ferrari on 183 points.
Okay, that's tight.
And Red Bull, perhaps surprisingly given their dominance in recent years, is fourth with 162 points.
So McLaren's way out front, but second, third, fourth. That's really close.
Exactly. What's truly striking here isn't just McLaren's lead, but that incredibly tight battle for P2. Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull are all within 37 points of each other.
37 points, that's nothing.
Basically, yeah. That's essentially one strong race result for any of them to flip the order entirely. This means every single point in Austria won't just be crucial, it will be fought for with an intensity we haven't seen in years from these, perennial frontrunners.
It could totally reshuffle their mid-season development priorities too, couldn't it?
Absolutely. Every upgrade counts now.
That paints a vivid picture of the stakes involved. Okay, so with the championship picture so incredibly tight and every point crucial, the stage itself becomes a key player. Let's turn our attention to the historic Red Bull Ring.
Good idea.
Because understanding its past can often shed light on what we might expect from this year's intense battles. The Austrian Grand Prix has a really, really storied history. This will actually be the 38th Austrian Grand Prix in Formula One history.
That's quite a few.
Yeah. The very first edition took place way back in 1964. Different track, though. That was at Zeltweg.
Yes, exactly. And then it moved to its current iconic location in Spielberg in 1970, which is what, about 200 kilometers from Vienna, I believe?
Beautiful part of the world.
Gorgeous. And the Red Bull Ring has seen some absolutely incredible moments over the decades. When we look at the most successful drivers at this venue, Max Verstappen actually leads the pack with an impressive 4 victories.
He loves this place.
He really does. Alain Prost is next with 3 wins. And then you've got other legendary names who've triumphed here. Ronnie Peterson, Alan Jones, Mika Hakkinen, Michael Schumacher, Nico Rosberg, Valtteri Bottas.
It's a proper list.
It really is. And as a historical note, the Argentine driver Carlos Reutemann is also among the winners, having taken victory here way back in 1974. It's truly a who's who of F1 legends.
It certainly is, but I mean, given how much F1 has changed technologically since, say, the 70s or 80s, do those historical wins still truly inform how we should view a track? Or is it more about the raw characteristics of the circuit layout itself? What about the teams?
Well, that's a crucial point, isn't it? While technology evolves massively, the fundamental characteristics of the Red Bull Ring remain. It's a circuit known for its, high-speed straights and pretty sharp braking zones, but also interspersed with some quite technical corners.
A real mix.
A real mix. And the fact that Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren are actually tied with 6 victories each year.
6 each, wow.
6 each. That isn't just a historical quirk. It tells us something fundamental about the track. This isn't a circuit that heavily favors, say, just raw power or just extreme downforce alone.
Needs balance.
Exactly. It demands a balanced car, one that's adaptable to its unique blend of straights and technical corners. This historical parity suggests that on any given Sunday, a well-executed setup and, a strategic masterclass could elevate any of these top contenders.
So it really opens the door.
It really does. It makes Austria a true test of the overall package and team execution rather than just raw pace. And just to round that out, Lotus and Red Bull both have 4 wins and Williams has 3.
Fascinating stats. And speaking of dominance, or at least a dominant fan presence, you really can't talk about the Red Bull Ring without mentioning the Armada Naranja.
Ah, yes, the Orange Army.
That enthusiastic sea of orange-clad fans who absolutely flood the circuit to support Max Verstappen. Seeing that sea of orange, you can almost feel the ground shake, can't you?
It's incredible. The atmosphere's electric.
It's like Max has an extra turbo boost powered by fan enthusiasm alone. You can definitely expect them to be out in full force again, creating an unbelievable atmosphere.
No doubt about it.
So with all that history and all those championship implications hanging in the balance, let's talk about the actual format for the 2025 Austrian Grand Prix weekend.
Right, the nuts and bolts.
Unlike last year, which featured a sprint race, this year it will be a traditional format. Now, for the teams, this means crucial extra practice sessions on Friday and Saturday.
More track time.
Exactly. Allowing them more time to gather data, fine-tune their car setups, and truly dial in for qualifying and the race. This deeper preparation, well, it often leads to more refined strategies and potentially closer racing on Sunday, wouldn't you say?
I'd agree with that. That extra hour on Saturday morning can be really valuable. It's an important distinction for fans and definitely for the teams trying to find that perfect setup. So here's how the weekend will unfold.
Lay it out.
On Friday, June 27th, we'll have 2 crucial 1-hour practice sessions,
Right.
FP1 and FP2. That's where teams will gather loads of data and start fine-tuning their setups.
Okay.
Then, on Saturday, June 28th, there will be another 60-minute practice session, FP3, which leads directly into the qualifying session later that afternoon.
Qualifying. Always exciting.
Always. That qualifying session is where all the drama builds, obviously. as it determines the starting grid for Sunday's main race.
And then, of course, the big one, Sunday, June 29th, the Grand Prix itself. But beyond the format, what are the key questions and narratives swirling around this Grand Prix as we head into the weekend? Our sources highlighted some really interesting points that we've already touched upon, but let's bring them into sharper focus now.
Yeah, definitely. This race is just brimming with intriguing storylines. First, as we discussed with that Canadian incident, will McLaren be able to recover after what some describe as their disappointing performance?
Despite Piastri's points, yeah.
Right. They're leading the Constructors' Championship, which is great for them, but that teammate collision was a definite setback. They'll be eager to just move past.
Absolutely. Storyline number 2.
Second, a big question mark hangs over Lewis Hamilton. Will he finally adapt, truly adapt, to his Ferrari S25 car? He's had a mixed start to his Ferrari career, let's be honest.
It hasn't quite clicked yet, has it?
Not consistently, no. And fans would be really eager to see if he can truly find his rhythm in Austria and challenge at the front. Then there's the vibrant duel between Max Verstappen and George Russell. After Russell's win in Canada, the dynamic between these two is set to be electric, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. 2 hard racers.
Exactly. Who will emerge victorious in Austria? Especially with Mercedes showing such strong pace recently. That's a big one.
Okay, what else?
And as we mentioned earlier, what are Franco Colapinto's prospects for building on his Canadian momentum? Can he fight for points and make a real statement for Alpine? Keep an eye on him.
Definitely one to watch in the midfield.
And just as a point of interest, the sources also mentioned the tendencias regarding Aston Martin being obligado a reemplazar of Fernando Alonso, which translates to trends indicating Aston Martin is obliged to replace Fernando Alonso.
Ooh, okay. Alonso watch.
Yeah, just something bubbling under the surface. This is certainly a narrative to keep an eye on for the future, maybe hinting at potential long-term driver market shifts down the line.
That last one is certainly a long-term storyline that will keep us all guessing. But these immediate questions, McLaren's recovery, Hamilton's adaptation, Max versus George, Colapinto's progress, they truly make this race compelling to watch, don't they?
Absolutely. Every session, every lap will contribute to answering them. It's going to be fascinating.
Okay. So if you're ready to tune in and follow all this action, let's get into the practical details. You need to know when and where to watch.
Crucial info.
We've got all the exact session times for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, covering local Austrian time and key global time zones like ET, PT, CET, and UK time. You can find the full detailed breakdown in our show notes so you can perfectly plan your viewing.
Check those notes.
Definitely check the notes. But to give you a quick glance at the main events. On Friday, June 27th, Free Practice 1 kicks off at 13:30 local time in Austria. That's 1:00 p.m.
Okay.
Free Practice 2 will follow at 17:00 local time, so 5 p.m. Moving to Saturday, June 28th, Free Practice 3 is scheduled for 12:00 local time, 12:30.
Midday session.
Yep. The crucial qualifying session will then begin at 16:00 local time, 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon.
Prime time for quali.
And finally, the main event, the race on Sunday, June 29th, starts at 15:00 local time, 3 p.m. Sunday.
Perfect Sunday afternoon viewing for many. Now, knowing when to watch is one thing, but where to watch is just as important, right? The broadcasting options vary quite a bit by region, so we've compiled a pretty comprehensive list. For our listeners in Latin America, you'll primarily find coverage on Disney Plus Premium. Specific race times will vary by country, so definitely check our show notes for your precise local start time.
Good tip.
Broadly across Latin America, you can also look for ESPN and specific FOX sports channels, depending on where you are. In the United States, it's ESPN, ESPN Deportes, ESPN2.
Standard carriers there.
Yep. In the UK, it's Sky Sports F1. For Canada, RDS, TSN. A full list for all major regions, including Australia, that's Fox Sports, Foxtel, Caio Italy, which is Sky Italia, Spain on DAZN F1, Germany, Sky Deutschland and RTL, France Canal Plus, Japan Fuji TV, and DAZN, Brazil Bandeirantes, and of course Austria itself with Service TV and ORF. It's all available in the show notes for easy reference.
Wow, that's incredibly comprehensive. Thank you. So no matter where you are around the globe, you should have a way to follow every single moment of this, well, incredibly exciting weekend.
Should be covered.
What an incredible deep dive into the 2025 Formula One Austrian Grand Prix. We've covered, well, pretty much everything from the aftermath of the Canadian GP and those nail-biting championship standings
Really tight standings.
to the rich history of the Red Bull Ring and all the key narratives shaping this weekend. It's truly a historical venue with so much on the line for all the teams and drivers.
It really is. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. given the surprising shifts we've seen in the championship so far this season, with McLaren leading and maybe Red Bull trailing a bit, what previous F1 season might this 2025 season start to remind you of?
Ooh, interesting question.
And why might that be a good or maybe a bad omen for the teams fighting for the top this year? It's a fascinating question to ponder as we head into Austria.
Absolutely. It keeps you thinking long after the checkered flag, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope you feel fully informed and ready to enjoy every second of the 2025 Austrian Grand Prix.
Enjoy the race.
We'll catch you next time.